Is it gonna work? Will it float? Wow, man. Hey everyone, it's Andrew, and today what we're doing is spending a bit of time around the Sarlacc pit on Felucia and seeing which characters and vehicles will float over the top and which ones sink right to the bottom. I tested all the Clone Wars vehicles in the Sarlacc pit, the STAP, the Bark Speeder, TX-130, AAT, ATRT, and the slow, bulky ATT, and tried to see which ones could get through or get over the other side of the Sarlacc. And also tried a few trick jumps into the pit, spins, stuff like that, fancy stuff, and whether or not it's possible to force push enemies into the Sarlacc. Also a lot of excessive jumping into the Sarlacc pit. I feel like it's where you want to be. And also a bit of exploring the edges of the Sarlacc pit. You can actually get a fair way around the edge of it underwater. I'll show you that soon. So because there's no private matches in Battlefront 2, we had to film most of this in a public game of capital supremacy, which meant it could be quite tricky getting over to the Sarlacc without being killed, and also filming without being killed, constantly dodging blaster fire, kept getting shot at everywhere I was. But we did get enough footage to test a few things I'd been wanting to try. I also filmed some of this in instant action. All the vehicle stuff is instant action. So if you go around to the far edge of the Sarlacc, you can actually drop down onto a small piece of land and stand in the water. Here, you're at a level where you can see both below and above water at the same time, which is a little strange, and the water is completely see-through, but it will give you a good look at all the fish and the Sarlacc's teeth, mouth, and tongue, and anything else you want to see inside there. It's actually not as developed and rezzed as I would have expected. There's not much going on down here. You can also see the pipes that run deep into the water from the platform above. And if you go into third person here, you'll see that your entire body is submerged in the water except for your head. And looking across the pond surface at this angle, you can actually see a ripple in the water, which is also cool. If you shoot the water, you'll also notice the splashes, which is funny, seeing as though jumping into the water from way up creates no splash at all, so it's good that there are some version of splashes in this game. I think you all know my opinion on why water in video games needs splashes. Now, clone trooper armor must be super heavy because there's no way of swimming in the water. Even if you run straight in without diving, you'll immediately be swallowed into the giant chasm, never to be seen again. But you can run around the edges of the Sarlacc pond with your legs underwater. There's a slight lip at the edges, next to which is a massive drop off into the pit. There's no gradual incline or hill underwater. It's just a straight drop off down into the bottomless pit. Also, you can't get all the way around the pit doing this. You'll reach a point where there's nowhere left to step and you'll slip underwater. Battle droids also can't swim, surprisingly. They'll sink to the bottom immediately. The same goes for Droideka. I thought maybe they'd be able to spin fast enough to create a whirlwind that would keep them afloat, but the water immediately clogs their system and they explode when fully submerged. So just below the jetty platform to the left, underwater you can see these timber slabs. Now I'm wondering if these were used for something that's no longer here or has deteriorated, but you can walk on these and get your legs underwater without dying, unless you step a little further in and then you'll just slip right under. You can also jump straight into the pit with B2 rocket droids, which is a lot of fun, but they'll also sink immediately just like everything else. But it's lots of fun, like I said, jumping in with these guys, and still no splash, but you know, we can't have everything, I guess. Okay, now onto the vehicle. First up, the Separatist STAP, and surprise, they actually hover above the water, which is really cool and what I was hoping for. You can drive this thing around all the edges of it and across and you will not sink. But can we make this thing sink? I tried getting some speed and diving off the platform to plummet the STAP into the water, but still it stays above water. Even when jumping from higher ground, these things will not go underwater. So after multiple tests, the STAP is unsinkable, unless you jump off the bike while you're over the Sarlacc pit. Then it explodes and you'll fall straight down into the chasm. Okay, next up we have the AAT. Now you guys saw what happened to this thing after I jumped it off the platform into the Sarlacc. It went straight down. And I was honestly actually expecting this thing to float, just like the STAP. The STAP was the first vehicle I'd taken across this, and I was like, oh, if the STAP can float, all the others should be able to, right? Not to be. So I tested it on a smaller jump to see if maybe it was just the height I was jumping from was getting too much air and just plummeting below, but nope. Even from a lower jump, this thing plunged to the bottom of the Sarlacc. So third time. Let's take it real slow and ease my way in from the flat ground. Also testing the splashes and ripples here in the water. Splashes confirmed. Okay, easy, easy, easy. Okay. So the AAT can't float, which is a little surprising to be honest, but there you go, it can't float, just plummets straight down, very heavy, can't float, can't swim. Next up is the ATRT. Obviously didn't have any hopes of this thing being able to float or stay above water, but it should join the rest of the clones, droids, and vehicles now deep underwater, so the Sarlacc can have the whole collection. Just give it the whole Star Wars collection of vehicles and heroes and everyone. Everyone can have a party under the Sarlacc. Sarlacc gets all these little new toys. I tried to walk in real slowly and it slipped on the rock and exploded. These vehicles seem to be pretty sensitive when it comes to water damage. A little bit of water and the entire thing explodes. I guess not that surprising. Now, the Bark Speeder is the closest vehicle to the STAP in the game, so I figured it would probably have a similar capability of being able to stay above water. And I was right. Even after trying a few different angles and trying to plunge this thing underwater, I couldn't get it to sink. So there you have it. Both the bike vehicles are light enough or have the hover ability of going on water. And the same thing happens when you jump off the bike over the pond, the speeder explodes and you fall down below into the pit. Now the TX-130 I had high hopes for. This tank has better maneuverability than its separatist equivalent, the AAT, and also appears to have a wider, flatter base, perfect for hovering on water. So let's put it to the test. I'm so sure this one will hover. Okay, that's fine. We did jump from the platform, so next let's try ease it into the pit from level ground. It looks like it should stay above. The shape of this thing just feels like it should work. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Nope. Honestly disappointed in the TX-130. This tank is a beast, but it seems to have one major weakness. Sarlacc pit. Okay, now for the vehicle you've all been waiting for. The gigantic, slow, bulky ATT. It takes half the match time to actually get this thing to the Sarlacc. This thing is so big that if it were to fall in the Sarlacc while it was still alive, it would most certainly squash or choke the Sarlacc, or now at least fill a large portion of the pit. Okay, so first I tried to walk it along the platform and drop it into the Sarlacc, but we ran into some issues. The ATT kept getting stuck and didn't want to go out any further on the platform. It's probably nervous. That's okay, we'll just walk it directly into the pit. But again, it kept getting stuck. Obviously this slope is too steep for the ATT because it didn't want to go down any further, which makes you wonder how these things are at all practical. Can they move faster than what they do in this game? And are they capable of knocking over all obstacles in their way? Because I feel like they should be. Unfortunately, that's not the case here because getting this thing around was a nightmare. Also tried taking it around to the other side of the Sarlacc, but I couldn't get through the jungle. Kept getting stuck here. Okay, so here goes. We finally maneuvered this thing around to the edge of the Sarlacc pit. So what happens when you walk in? You can't walk in. This is it. You can get the two front legs of the ATT into the pit, but the machine refuses to go any further. No matter what I did, I couldn't get it to tip over the edge, which sucked. Then a battle droid came and destroyed the ATT with its E5 blaster. Not sure how this thing is supposed to destroy a tank, but it happened. So I grabbed another ATT and tried taking it around to the other side of the pit and couldn't even make it past here. Also kept taking a lot of damage, so had to get out a few times and kill a few battle droids, then jump back in, but with no further luck. Still couldn't get it past here, and then again the tank got destroyed. So myth busted. The ATT can't go for a swim in the Sarlacc. Can't activate doggy paddle mode and swim through, unfortunately. Honestly feel like these vehicles are kind of useless in a lot of ways. They're great if they've just got to sit in one spot, but getting anywhere, man, not easy at all. Need to get a lift from one of these guys. Okay, so as a final little bit of fun, I wanted to see if I could force push someone into the Sarlacc, which obviously would be possible if the AI droids would just stand a little closer to the pit, but I had a few goes at this, managed to get this battle droid real close with a few force pushes, then he got up, started shooting at me, and walked in himself. I had one final go at this. There were a group of droids all standing around the command post at once, so I absorbed some of their blaster fire, then fired one good strong force push back at them all. And this guy here with the shield went flying back. I went to look for him over the edge, but couldn't see him anywhere, so I'm gonna go and count this one as a win. So there you go, guys. The Stap and Bark Speeder are the only two things capable of surviving the Sarlacc. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Something a little different. Let me know if you want me to do more of this type of thing and what you'd want me to test next. And if you haven't seen them yet, go watch some of my other Felucia videos, like my comparison between the new Felucia and the old map from the original Battlefront 2. And follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Discord. I've been posting some extra other content over there on those platforms, so go check that out. Thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.
Stay bombastic.